Hey, it's Scott from FamilyWheels.ca with another car review for your growing family, and this week we're testing out the 2019 Honda CR-V. Now, you may have seen that last week we had the 2019 Honda Passport. It's the bigger brother, next step up in the line from the CR-V. We really liked it. You can see that video via the link above me here. And of course, this week we have the smaller version. Not exactly the smaller version, but you know, the next step down. It's a bit less space, bit of a different design, and of course a bit less money, but it still has a ton of really fantastic features and of course bears that Honda reputation and Honda nameplate. But is it the right car for you and your growing family? Only one way to find out. Let's go check it out. So unlike that aforementioned new model to the Honda lineup, the Passport, one thing that we do have in the CR-V is history. The car has been around for over 20 years and it's been a sales monster for Honda. And in that time, it's also won itself a gaggle of awards, and it's all for good reason. The CR-V is an excellent example of what an SUV crossover should be. It's efficient, provides you with what you need, and offers a lot of little perks that make life easier. I keep using the word utilitarian in reviews, and that's because the utility in an SUV is probably the most important thing to a growing family, and Honda have really refined that over time to give us an excellent product here in the CR-V. The CR-V comes in 5 different trims and has a whole host of options, including 2-wheel or all-wheel drive. The base model is the LX, and it's available in 2-wheel, but as soon as you step up from there, all-wheel drive is standard. All models come with the same 1.5 liter 16-valve turbocharged 4-cylinder. It makes 190 horsepower and 179 pound-feet of torque, and they all have a CVT transmission. From here, there are options galore between the different trims, including a host of different driver assist and safety options like forward collision warning, lane departure warning, blind spot monitoring, and adaptive cruise control. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard, and this model that we're in is the top of the line Touring, so it has all the bells and whistles, including things like rain sensing wipers, ambient lighting, heated front and rear seats, and a 331 watt sound system. The base model starts in at around 29,000 Canadian, with the top of the line Touring coming in at just over 41,000 Canadian. Inside the CR-V, the theme continues. Things are well laid out and above all, practical. I think one of the main reasons that this model has done so well for Honda is that it gives people what they need. At the end of the day, a car is just a tool, and this tool does its job exceptionally well. It's not overly flashy or impressive, but it's confidence inspiring in its reliability and trustworthiness. I don't feel like the CR-V is trying to impress anyone. It has a great reputation and it's willing to be put to the test, but it knows that it'll pass with flying colors, and it rests easy in that. Everything in here works well and it makes sense. Here's an example. I love a big moonroof like this, but I hate opening it up to find that the wind noise makes driving and having conversations with the people in the car just unbearable. In the CR-V, the wind noise from an open moonroof might just be the lowest I've ever experienced. It's just designed so well. Sticking with the interior, here in the Touring, the driver's seat is 12-way power and the passenger is 4-way power. There's lots of legroom and headroom, and the console is easy to navigate and well laid out. Nice size armrest, lots of storage. It's adjustable under here as well, and decent sized cup holders too. Now, there are a few things about the CR-V that bugged me though. The climate controls were a bit clunky for my liking. I like easy on and off tactile buttons, but the way the controls are integrated with the infotainment here was a bit of a letdown. Things like turning on air conditioning and adjusting vent options just took too many steps. And those steps that you did need to take, like selecting climate, then adjusting your temperature and vent settings, and then finally fan speeds, felt delayed on the touchscreen. And this is a bit of a touchy point with people considering the way that distracted driving is being treated these days, and rightly so. When you need to adjust something while you're on the move, it should be easy and seamless and hopefully not need you to even give it a second look, but that's not the way I felt in the CR-V. While we're at it, let's talk about that infotainment system. This is actually one of the few areas where I was a little bit disappointed in the CR-V. As I mentioned before, the Passport that I just tested and many other products that I've been through lately have nice, bright, beautiful screens that look great and work just as well. But in comparison, I found this one to be a bit subpar. As I mentioned, it felt a bit delayed in its response to inputs, and the layouts and navigation weren't as easy as other systems that I've used. Too many clicks to get to a given menu, and in general, it just doesn't look as impressive as systems I've used in other cars, including other Hondas. We put the CR-V through our series of standardized testing, so let's see how it did there. Starting in the back seat, the CR-V is plenty spacious, impressively so, considering its small appearance. My wife drives a Ford Escape, and one of her main takeaways about the CR-V was just how roomy it is. Like I said before, tons of legroom for 4 adults, and in our standardized rear-facing car seat test, the CR-V came in at 31 inches from the back of the front passenger seat to the glove box, and installing the car seat was pretty easy as well. It's not the best we've seen. There's no easy access doorways to the latch system, but there are these slits in the seat to help you find the latches. If you're installing a car seat in a CR-V, I'd say feel out where these are first, then put the car seat in, and you shouldn't have any problems. In our trunk test, the CR-V scored an A+. Lots of room back here for everything and more, and if necessary, you can fold the seats flat for even more storage, and they go down really easily with one-handed operation via these handles in the back. Volume-wise, the CR-V has 1,110 liters back here behind the seat, with 2,146 liters with the seats folded flat, which is more than the Toyota RAV4, Ford Escape, and Nissan Rogue. Decibel test, pretty great, 61 decibels at 100 kilometers an hour on dry roads. And finally, let's talk about the look back test. Like once you've bought your car and you've parked it and you're walking away, do you feel the need to look back at it just to steal that last glance because you just love it so much? Now, I think the CR-V's looks have improved over the years, and I like the color of our test model, but otherwise I'd say that looks aren't the car's strongest suit. Again, this is a really subjective thing, of course, but there's a lot here that I'm not a huge fan of. The rims have this 3-spoke thing going on that I don't love. Okay, I get they're kind of 6-spoke, but you see how they're also 3-spoke as well. And the lines don't exactly scream to you that the car wants to be taken out in the bush for a weekend adventure. Of course, it could handle the mountains no problem, but I just think it looks more at home in the mall parking lot. I think it's on par with the theme here, actually. The CR-V is meant for urban and suburban families whose most important needs are all practical. It looks fine, but yeah, I'm not feeling the need to look back and steal that second glance. Drive-wise, well, let's say the CR-V is consistent here too. And what I mean by that is you don't exactly need to worry about the CR-V costing you a ton of money in gas because you can't keep your foot out of it. It's not exactly the most exciting thing to drive. When I first walked around it, I was excited to see the words turbo across the back, thinking perhaps there was some spirit inside the CR-V that I was unaware of, but inside I found myself searching for a sport mode button or something that would at least make it feel like the turbo was doing its job. But I guess, come on, what can you expect by now from this review, right? We know what the CR-V is for, and inspired driving it is not, but I suppose it's just as well. The people I know who would be looking to buy one of these really couldn't care care less about horsepower, skid pad, or acceleration. They want convenience, capacity, and comfort, all of which the CR-V proudly provides. It's cheap to run too, with Honda claiming combined economy numbers of 8 liters for 100 kilometers in the all-wheel drive models. In our real-world testing, the number came out a little higher at 10.2 liters for 100 kilometers, which works out to 23 US miles per gallon. So all in all, I think the CR-V is a pretty great little runabout. Interesting tidbit here, actually, the letters CR-V are said to stand for Comfortable Runabout Vehicle, and that's exactly what it is. It gives you basically everything you need without breaking the bank. If you have a small family and your needs are primarily practical, I think it's a pretty great choice, with my only cautions being, there's that slightly slow infotainment system and the fact that it's not exactly going to start a fire every time you mash the gas pedal, but with prices at the pump being the way they are, maybe that's a good thing, right? I think you'd probably be pretty happy with it. If you enjoyed the video, hit like or subscribe or leave me a comment. Would love to hear from you. And join me next week when we'll be reviewing the 2019 Mazda 6. For FamilyWheels.ca, I'm Scott.